Hey everyone, welcome to Your First Digital Product, a show that helps maxed out service providers create their first digital product so they can gain an additional income stream, grow their impact without increasing one-on-one work, and experience more time freedom. On the show, I talk to business owners who have launched digital products and dig deep into how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. I'm your host, Renee Morozowicz. Let's go. Hey everyone, today I'm here with Jolene Dames, and Jolene is an artist who documents her world travels via painting, writing, and moving images. She also works behind the scenes of movies, television, theater, and live entertainment. Hey Jolene, how are you today?
Hi, Renee. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Excited that you're here and you just launched your first product, so I'm really excited about that. So let's tell everybody all about it.
I wanted to do a house sitting guidebook that was coupled with the video about my first international house sitting experience. And typically, I'm an artist in my own right, so I paint large scale. And I also like my day job is working in movies and television behind the scenes, painting sets. Um, Technically, I'm a camera scenic, which means that I go with the production as they're filming. I fix things right to camera as needed visually. So that's my background, and then as I'm traveling around the world, I just kinda, like, take those 2 backgrounds and then do those things, and yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your house sitting, you said your first experience that was in Ireland, yeah?
Yeah, so 10 years ago, I, created the Globe Squatters, 2 artists on a little adventure, house sitting their way around the world because I got turned on to house sitting. I can't even remember how I got turned on to it, but we were reading about something, and I was like, "Wouldn't it be cool to be the first, like, people to house sit their way around the world?" So I started, like, docking these house sits or, like, setting up these house sits rather that were, like we went to Ireland, Scotland, England, France. Ireland was the first one that we went to, and that was 10 years ago, and then the following year, they asked us to come back, and so I was actually there 9 years ago, but, it was a really good experience, and it was such a unique way to travel that I felt like I wanted to share it with everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you have so
Yeah.
many, like, additional experiences, so the guide really is kind of like a hybrid of how you can do this, how you get started, plus, like, "Hey, here's some real life experience, like, check us out." And you did a bunch of different things, right? Like the video, and then you had some art in there as well?
Yeah, so it's kinda complex because I'm an artist, so it all becomes complex, in the land of creating. But, it started out like the guide that I actually made for this was the only thing that I really had to get into and actually flesh out and, like, create.
Mhm.
The video we had actually made 10 years ago when we went. Um we got the footage 10 years ago. The following year, we put it together, and the reason we put the video together was because we were putting together a pilot episode to give to production companies because we wanted to be on the Travel Channel. That was the goal, and just really revolutionize the way people travel. So we did get picked up by a production company, and we signed on with them for a year. And at the time, we had started to put little snippets of the video up and started to like put this together a little bit tighter. But once we signed on, we had to remove all that because it was part of the contract.
Okay.
And so it just got plucked out of the ethers, and then it sat there until the contract ran up. And then a series of other life events happened. And here I am 10 years later, like, delivery. So, rewinding, the actual guide that I did is an up-to-date guide because I continued house sitting throughout the
Mhm.
last 10 years. And so that was the real thing that I had to put together, and I wanted to link it to the video because the video really it was informative, but it was also about us, like, taking care of chickens and ducks and the dog and the cat and, being in Ireland. So, since we were there, we saw it as like a way to document our experience as artists, right? So we had this whole other tied into this launch, I tied in, like, a whole bunch of our paintings and photography, and so I was, like, multi-building products as I was building a product, which
Yeah.
maybe wasn't the best thing to take on because then I got a job out of town, but I think, I did it pretty successfully, I think. I felt good about it, and it felt really good to actually release the product, so that was a lot of information at one time.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think it's great. So tell us about the actual product creation then. So you said that you had the video already, but you put the guide together. So what did that look like? Like how long had you been wanting to do this and why was like now a good time to do it? So talk about like the, how you kind of picked this back up again and then what the process was like.
Okay, so, um, my main reason for, putting this together was because I wanted to get my already established audience. Everybody knows me as a painter,
Mhm,
which is great, because that's, like, mainly what I've done all my life. But I do a bunch of other artistic things, and I'm like, how can I marry these ideas and, like, put it out there and still, like, stay true to my artistic, like, this is what I wanna do. And, so really it was to kinda just to open the door to my already existing audience and say, "Hey, like, I'm kinda quirky. I do these other things." And
mhm,
they'd be like, "What?" And then I peppered in the paintings and the photography within the guides so that they could, like, link it back to, like, "Oh, yeah, Jolene, painter. Oh, yeah, Jolene,
mhm,
photographer. Like, this is what she does." So the actual video itself required, minimal tweaks. Like, I
mhm,
had to tweak the beginning and the ending, because I've just changed my branding. And then the actual house sitting guide was more of, it started out as an 11-page PDF. And then it wound up being a, like, I think 20-page PDF all about the essentials of house sitting. So, I think at the baseline of everything, like the thing that I'm trying to express to people is like, you can't separate the artist from the explorer with
mhm.
like who I am. Like it's just, I mean, I'm sure other artists maybe don't have this like desire to travel and like see things like that, but I really need those two to be married in like what I'm showing in my website and stuff. So, um, yeah, I think did I answer your question?
Yeah, I maybe just why now? I think maybe it was the only other one. So
Oh,
why was now the right time, to put this
yeah.
together?
Why was that? I mean,
I feel like I know
well,
the answer to this already. You had said about being location independent. That's being, one of your goals.
yeah, I mean, that is my biggest goal for this year is to become more location independent, so that I can, thanks for that prompt too, because I'm like, I want to blame inspiration. But
Both. It could be
yeah,
both.
yeah, it's kind of both. And I'm the type of person that I sit on things for a while and sometimes so long that I just I just sometimes get like, I don't even know if it's fear or if it's just like, I just want to put my best work out
Mhm.
there, and your best work is always going to be what it is at the time that you create it because you are always at your best self, right?
Yeah, I
So
like
when
that.
you will, yeah. So that's why you got to do it like right away.
Mhm.
Just do the
Yeah, that's
thing.
perfect.
Because if you don't, then you're just like sitting on this work for years, like I have, and I've sat on this, and I've been like, I really want to do this, and I want to
Mhm.
create these virtual adventures because the movement towards location independent for me looks like courses and adventures and like products that are passively doing what they need to do as passive as possible.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, so it's kind of coupled for a couple different reasons. And I think at the end of the day, the thing that was just like, just do the thing was this absolute gnawing inside of me that I had all this knowledge about house sitting and I just wasn't sharing it. I just
Mhm.
wasn't, or I was just, like dropping it in there. But I will say, like, something that I realized while doing this is that working with you with it was like, I kept going, what am I trying to say here? Because I've told the story so many times that like I've forgotten like some of the important bits that
Mhm.
like so some of it wasn't making sense to you. And you were like, well, what is and I'm like, it was so clear to me, like, well, that's that. And I had other people too that I was like, kind of like, hey, check this out. Like, tell me what you think of this. And they're like, but I don't understand. And I'm like, but what do you understand? And I'm like, oh, wait, I'm only telling a part of the story because I'm so used to telling the story. So
Mhm.
it was
Well, you're
interesting
in
to
it.
kind of,
You're in it and
yeah,
you've lived it, and it makes so much sense to you, and not that it doesn't make sense to us, but, like, we're coming at it from a way different perspective. Like, you're so far ahead, we're all involved in our craft and involved in, whatever it is that we know so much about that we forget that people are back here and really need to make it really clear, very easily understandable for people so that they get it right away, because if people don't get it right away, they're gonna bail, and we're like, "I don't understand this." And they're just gonna leave, so and I think that happens to all of us. We're all in that, like,
yeah,
we're so advanced, in whatever it is that we do, that we forget what it was like to be a beginner, and so but that's great feedback that, that you showed your product to other people so that you could get that feedback instead of,
yeah,
kinda doing it blindly and putting it out there and then hearing that, like, ugh, so you had a chance to iterate, so I think that's good.
yeah. And I was also like
Mhm,
very firm about like, I have a couple people that I talked to that were like, they wanted to like give me their 2 cents, which was great,
mhm,
but there was no time to change it. So I
mhm,
was like, thank you, but I can't do anything about that right now. So I need to I just had to keep moving it forward. Otherwise, I would have
mhm.
just kept putting it off because, it wasn't like
Yes.
ready yet.
Yeah, that's a
And,
great point. Yes,
you
that
know,
totally, I like the idea of getting feedback, but yes, you don't have to take all of it. You don't have to take every
right.
single thing that every person says. And sometimes they're contradictory, right? Like one person is like, "Well, I think you should do this," and the other person's like, "I think you should do that." And you're like, "Well, those are actually two different things. Like those are
Yeah.
opposite things. I can't do both of those." So I think that like getting that feedback is great, and then just seeing like what resonates, like, when you kind of just sit and think about it, like, "Oh yeah, that really makes sense," or "I'm ready to do that," or "I'm able to do that." I was talking with my coach the other day, about this solo episode that I'm working on, and she's like, "See if you can connect the story at the beginning to the end." And I just can't, I'm just not there yet. Like
Mm,
I'm just not there. Like I get the idea and I will try to get there, but I'm not there. So like I'm just gonna, like you said, like this is the best I'm doing because this is the best that I am now, and hopefully I will get there later. But that's for
yeah.
later. That's yeah, not for now. So
And
yeah.
that's so interesting because I feel like so I have a theory about I have a theory about everything, but my theory
That's
about
good.
like the painter's house is never painted. The car
Mhm.
mechanic's car is never fixed.
Mhm.
The hairdresser's hair is never done. Like we do for others, like what we can't do for ourselves. And I really felt like through this whole thing that you were the one that was like getting me to the end of the story, like linking the 2 together, and I felt like that was, like, part of your role in this that you did very successfully, so, like, the fact to hear that you're, like, kinda moving through it, like, how do you connect it, and that you're, dealing with that is interesting to me because, I was struggling with that, and you were like, "Okay, we're gonna" and I was like,
Because it's
yeah, that
easier to
makes
do it for
sense."
other people.
Yeah,
It's easy
that
for
makes
me to
total
do
sense,
for
like
you.
Renee thinks I'm not, like, putting anything together over here, does no. Yeah. But you
No, I
kinda feel
think
like that sometimes, you know?
yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think it's so maybe we should just let the audience know that, I helped you with this product in that I kind of helped you put a timeline together and did check-ins and answered questions and kind of supported you, in this product creation, so you weren't just kind of, like, out there on your own. You did all the work. I just kind of
Right.
answered questions for you and kind of guided you along and checked in and, I'm not sure how you felt. You can talk about this if you like, but I know that whenever I know somebody is going to be counting me or holding me accountable, like I know when I'm gonna get an email that's like, "Hey, how are you doing on this thing?" I don't want to let that person down, and I will, even if I haven't done it, like I'm gonna get it together to show up to be like, "Yes, I did the thing I said I was going to do." So I don't know if that's how you felt. That's how I feel when I work with people who are holding me accountable. So if you want to talk
Yeah.
about that, we can.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely feel a sense of that for sure. I also think I have this other part of me that is like artistic temperament. Oh, wait, and it's just like I like things have to gestate for me. They have to, or they're just like a
Yeah.
pounce. It's just like so. I have like that dynamic going on too. One of the other things I do is coaching, right? Like
Mhm.
yeah, like house sitting, coaching, painting, like, people are like, "How do you put all that together?" I'm like, "I don't know, it just happens, like, whatever," you know?
It's just me.
But, yeah, it's just me, like, that's the thing, and that's, like, what I'm really trying to say with my website, like,
Mhm.
it's just me, like, I don't funnel me into your, like, little boxes of things. However, most people need little boxes of things, and I get that, and doing this made me realize, like, back to, like, r the coaching bit, like, when I'm working with people, like, I can clearly see what needs to happen next for them. But,
Mhm.
like, one thing I discovered about myself during this was that I think I sent you an email about it too, because it hit me like a ton of bricks, and you're like, "Would it be helpful if I, put together this sheet?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yes." Like, 1, I love checking boxes and, like, saying I did a thing,
Yes.
and 2, I realized that I I work gig to gig. Like, I do things project by project. I've been in the film industry for 23 years. So I've done over, I think, like 50 movies at this point, and each one is like a little project, little project,
Mhm.
little project, and that's it. And so I work like in chunks, and I need those boundaries. Like, I need that timeline because otherwise it drives me mental. Like, I've tried to do jobs where, like, I'm pretty good at accounting, believe it or not, and, like, I tried to do this accounting job, and every day at the end of the day, we had to reconcile this budget, and everything's outstanding, and it would drive me nuts.
It's just never gonna be done. Yes.
That's the feeling, and
Mhm.
I think that's, like, what this doing this product, like, really, really showed me some things about myself like that, and that, like, it's never gonna be done. Like, sometimes you just gotta call it, you
Mhm.
know? And I feel like that's what I did with the Globe Squatters and the house sitting guide and stuff, and I say that all as, like, the same thing, but also, like, it helped me realize, like, this is my method of working, and you were great support in that because your ability to and I feel like this since I started working with you, like, your ability to see, like, what is the next step and how that person, like, what their mechanics are. Like, I feel like you're really good at the mechanics of things, and I've always felt like that working with you, that where when I would kind of, like, shoot off in, like, a direction that you'd be like, "You're simple, nice, but succinct." So succinct prompts were like, "Ah, okay," and, like, I'd see, like, herding chickens.
It's like, "Come on back
Like,
this way."
yeah, yeah,
You're like, "But what
and
about this thing over there?"
yeah, yeah, it's so shiny.
Yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
does that.
Yeah. I call that the something shiny personality. It just, like, creeps out on you. It's just, this tendency to, like yeah. But, I really feel and felt like you were really good at doing that, especially with this product because, even when I came down to, like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this done because now I've got this gig," and it was, like, slam right in the middle of us trying to, push this thing
Mhm.
through, and you were like, "Well, do we need to change the launch date or, like, what's gonna make you feel like, what feels better to you?" And that really gave me, like, I always felt like I was in charge of it, but I always felt like you were, like, it gave like, I was empowered and had agency in the whole thing, and you were also, just, like, hearing me. Like, I felt like you heard me, and you could sense that I was like, "Oh, no, this is feeling pressurized," because that's the
Yeah.
best way for me to shut down.
Yes, and I think that nobody really likes that, like, expecting something from someone when they're just not able to deliver, I think is just, it's setting everybody up for failure. So, just kind of like looking through the options, just options, right? Like, here you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. Or you tell me like, what your options are. So, and really like what feels the best because I think whenever we think about it like that and determine what would feel the best for us moving forward, we can change that because there's no like one set path or plan. Like we made it up to begin with. Like we made a plan,
I
right? Like
know.
it was a Google sheet, right? And we had check boxes and
Yeah.
percentages and there were colors
The
of green and
percentages were
red and
awesome.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we talked initially and thought about, what there was to do. Here are all the things that we needed to do. And then, what time frame do we think we can get those done in? And when did you want to launch by? But then, like, as you're executing the plan, the plan may need to change. And it did just a little bit. But I think it feels good, yeah, to be able to make those changes and say, okay, I still want to get here. Sometimes you abandon the plan. You're like, I actually don't want to go there anymore. And that's fine.
Right.
But if you still want to get there, like, okay, what do we need to do now that, there's construction on this road or now that,
Right. Right.
like I ran out of gas or, whatever your, travel metaphors are. So I think it's
Yeah,
good.
I feel like that's definitely like, as soon as you had come back at me, 'cause I was like, "Oh, I might be a little slow." Because I mean, I think internally I was like, "Oh, shit, I'm really gonna do this." And but then, like, also I was like, "Ah, what if I can't give this to her at the time that was said, and that's gonna bother me?" But I love a challenge.
Some people
So,
do. Yeah. Some people are
I
really,
do.
yeah. Yeah.
And the bad part of that is sometimes I'll create a challenge in order to, like, feel that,
That would
like,
be bad.
yeah, yeah, it can go either way at times.
Yeah.
But as soon as you were like, I'm like, "No, I'm gonna launch this on time." And I did, and I did,
Mm,
and I feel like really looking back on it, that the only thing that I wish that I'd spent more time with is, actually fleshing out my social media
mhm,
posts and, like, that plan of attack, because I was never in lack of, like, the actual content. I'm never lacking content. What I lack is, um, putting it together in the correct timeline. So, I wanna say that part of the reason that that happened was my own fault for, like, I did take this job, and I've been on it since, and I couldn't focus my attention the way that I had been.
mhm.
So there were days where I was just like really tired, and I was like grasping to like put something out there to like keep it consistent,
Like the
you
momentum.
know?
Yeah. And the consistency. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it kind of came out like a little haphazardly. I feel like I could have been more successful at doing that, which maybe would have, I don't think maybe, I think it would have led to the product being more successful as a sell
Mhm,
and like in the whole scope of it. But the other thing that I found really, really difficult, and that I had an issue with, was the marketing. Like, I am so bad at selling myself. Like, I mean, and you kept saying, like, and this was so helpful, like, write it like you're writing to a friend. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's easy. Like, I can do that. Like, I'm a writer. I can write this.
mhm.
But then it would just be like, I just get so I've never taken a marketing class. I've never and I just don't want people to think like, "Oh, hey, look at me." But I'm like, "But I am saying, 'Oh, hey, look at me.'" Like,
Mhm. But for the
so
people who are interested, right? I don't
yeah,
think that we say like, "Oh, hey, look at me," to everybody, right? Like
right.
the people who resonate with us and the people who are like, "Oh, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this topic." Like those are the people we're trying to get their attention, right? Of like, "Hey,
Yeah,
we have something in common. You want to house sit or, you want to launch a product." Like these are the people we're trying to kind of pull into our orbit. The rest of the people, yeah, whatever. We don't
right.
they're just not our people. So we're just looking for our people. So I think that's kind of how I look at it. Now's a great time to maybe sit down and put some thoughts together about how you would do social media, whether it's like I should be posting every day or I should post this kind of thing, or like look back at the things that you did post, either timing or content or whatever, and say, like, okay, these ones really worked and these ones didn't work as well, or these felt really good for me to put out there and these ones didn't, and like what was it? Just try to like identify like what worked so that you have it for next time. Because I think we
That's a good
forget to. If we
idea.
don't write it down, if we don't look back at it and write it down, then we're like, oh, I can't remember, and then we just make something up the
Yeah.
next time. So I
Yeah,
think that
that's a
might
really
be.
great suggestion.
I want to get people to a launch, but then I also really like the point is to prepare you to be able to do this again. So to be able to sit down and put a timeline together to know like these are the types of things that I need to know. Like where am I going to sell? How do I price a thing? How do I get feedback? What emails do I have to send? What social posts do I have to share? All of these things and then to execute it and then to look back and say, okay, what was I really glad that I did? What am I really happy about? What went really well? What didn't? And so then you can take that into the next time and say, okay, well, I'm not going to do X and Y and Z again, but I am going to do A, B, and C again. So I think that's important because your first product is just like the first step. It's like one thing. It's
Yeah,
your very first thing and it's great in its own right. But, really the goal is to keep going. Like try
yeah.
another one. So, do you wanna talk about that? Do you wanna dive in there, or should we anything else we wanna say about the first one?
Yeah, no, the only thing that I wanna say about the first one is that because of what I was trying to do, which was a twofold thing, like, I could have just put a guide out there. I
Mhm,
could have just done that, and I really wanted to couple this video into it, and I didn't want it to be for public consumption
mhm,
because of exactly what you were saying, like, having, like, the resonance with the right people. And I just want to say that I threw a ton of questions at you, and I feel like I put up a lot of like caution. You like my highway patrolmen were like every mile going, "Hey, you better slow down," because I just came up with one more question. Because I was just trying to protect the integrity of what I
mhm,
had created, and I think that that's really, really important for me and something that, like, moving forward into my next ones, like, it's really hard as an artist, like, you know, you like, it's hard and it's great. Like, you have this freedom where, like, you pretty much do whatever you want. People will be like, "Oh, she's an artist, so, like, whatever." Like, and I'm pretty sure at this point, my entire audience on Instagram and Facebook is like, "What the hell is this woman doing?" Like, they said she was a painter and she's, like, taking care of chickens?
Oh, my
Like, what?
chickens, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, I
Too
don't
funny.
care. Like, I hope I throw you a curveball and I hope I throw you 10 more because that's
Mm.
what we're supposed to do as artists. But then
Yes,
the
yeah.
other aspect of it is like, there's no like there isn't any one defined way through it. It's
Mhm,
just like what you're deciding to do. And with all the content that's out there, like I love making videos, I wouldn't be in film if I didn't, but and it's like there's so much content out there, and I guess the easy thing would have been for me to just throw it out there and have, like, anybody be able to watch it but somehow for me, it, like, loses its value. I don't create lightly with anything.
right.
It's very intentional. I'm sure that the bulk of videos and things that are out there are not, like, artistically intentional, and so
Mm,
having that differentiation between, like, what I'm trying to do versus what somebody on, like, TikTok is trying to do is it's completely different. Like, I was born an artist, like, this is just, like, something that I am. It's not like I'm not like, I don't have to read about it to be it. Like,
mhm,
it's just happening, So that's the only thing that I wanted to say about that, but about what I already did. But then, like, moving forward, taking all that information into moving forward and, like, really creating more like virtual adventures
mhm.
and sticking to this location independent lifestyle as much as possible with some courses and coaching. And, I'm going to be doing like different types of, like, coaching that's, like, centered, like, a hyper focus on, like, filmmaking for
Mhm.
people that are, like, doing, videos and things like that, and then also a hyper focus on, like, I just got certified to be a yoga instructor.
Cool.
I will never stop learning and growing,
Mhm.
like, it's just I gotta keep my website that I have to have it keep up with me in some way. And, yeah, so that's the intention is, like, I think it'd be fun to do, like I have so much fun with the videos and just, like, creating those and also, like, I like teachable experiences,
Mhm.
like, I want people to have a takeaway with what it is that I'm making, not just, like, Oh, wow, look, that was a video. Click, swipe, whatever.
Right, right. And I think like as a collection, like as you build those things, so you have like X people in your audience right now, but more people are coming every day. And as you build the next thing, you might get more people from that, and so then you have more people in your audience in your orbit, and now you have a collection of these virtual adventures. So the first product really is just like the first drop in the bucket to
Yeah.
all of the things, the large collection. It's maybe like your first painting compared to like now all of the paintings
Ugh.
that you have done up to this point. Like it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm looking at it like that. And like, the one thing that I can say is that when you put something out there, you just don't know how people are going to respond to it. We run risks as creators all the time. And
Mhm,
I'm not just specifically saying like artists, I mean, just like creators like that we are. And so you run those risks all the time. And I think being unattached to the outcome is like this project that I did, this launch, like I was doing it because it was something that was like burning in me to do. Wasn't like I hadn't really been thinking about it. I hadn't like, you know, I'd wanted to do it, but it was just like the outcome wasn't what I was seeking. It was the
mhm,
actual like feeling of having accomplished it
mhm,
was like huge for me. And so that was really, I think, not being attached to outcomes. And I know this information. Like I live this on the daily. I'll be
mhm.
on a job and they're like, I don't like how you painted that. I'm like, okay, how do you want it? Oh, I want more of this. Okay. Can you do it that way? It's like a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just applying that to like what you're trying to put out there and like not giving up. Like I could easily be like, well, that didn't work as well as I wanted. So I guess I'm not supposed to do that. But
Mhm.
I'm like, that was really fun what I just did. And I learned like some cool stuff. And so I think I'm ready to like do another one and do it different and try to, on that quest for
Mhm.
that perfection. But you got to take risks. You got to put it out
It's
there.
right, right, and I think it's all, like, experimentation. I would call your product a smaller product, right, because it was 1 PDF, 1 video. Not that that means it took you 5 minutes, but it wasn't like a signature course, and, the
Right.
reason I like that is because it's challenging enough to get it out there. I mean, it took some time to get it all together, to, go through all the questions on the technology side, and you're just kind of
Yeah.
putting all the things, prepping the audience and doing all that stuff. But now you know you can do it. Like now you have done it. And I think that like anytime we do something for the first time, we feel more comfortable doing it again. It's like your first painting. If you would have said like, well, I just and then like that must mean I'm not supposed to do it again. Like, can you imagine like how different your life would have been? So
Oh my God. I
like
can't, Renee. I
yeah.
can't.
So I just think that it's so great, to have done it. And it's such a big step for people because we're not used to doing it in this way. Like you are used to creating, some of my audience, I think maybe is more service providers. So maybe they're maybe used to helping their audience create and, maybe do things for them as a service provider. But doing something for yourself is different. And so maybe again, not exactly the same for you, but I think a digital product is way different from you do a lot of like physical stuff. Like you have a painting and then there is a painting that exists at the end. So a digital
Yeah.
product I think is just a way different thing. And like when you sell that painting, then the painting is gone. And it is,
Yeah. And all that
now it lives with
happens.
somebody else. But
Yeah.
this, a lot of potential here.
I will say that, like, full disclosure, like, my like, I work behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Like, I don't go up in front of the camera. You
Ah,
know what I
yes.
mean?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great point.
So, like, for me, and I'm the one in this video,
Mhm.
like, my partner was filming me,
Mhm.
and I was the subject, you know? So, it was really terrifying for me. Like, this was about me getting over myself too, like,
Mhm.
putting myself out there in front of everybody because that is not my first step was my website and really claiming that, like,
Mhm.
here I am, because I'm like a closet creator. Like, I'm just behind the scenes and I'm like, I'm a
Mhm.
great, and the only time you ever see me on camera is when I'm called in when things are going wrong and they stop filming, and then everybody's just watching me and it's really, really nerve-wracking. But,
Wow.
oh, and like, you wanna talk about hyperventilation. It's like, oh my god, but it's like my job, so,
Yeah.
but it was really scary to put myself out there, and I'm still like, "Am I gonna regret this?" I can't speak for everybody, but I know for myself, like, it's it's hard to put myself out there like that.
Mhm.
It really is, and that was a honestly, that was the biggest thing that I've ever done for, like, my work.
Yeah. I think you're totally right that it is a putting yourself out there, like, in a way different way. And I think that it is so, much more maybe satisfying at the end when you do it, like, you're more proud of yourself, like, "Hey, I did this." And I kind of feel that way, like, about this podcast, like, there's I'm okay with, like, emails and, like, one-on-one client interactions, but, when it comes to putting it out, like, for the internet, like, open in the world, it's a way different thing. It's so
Yeah,
different, and it's very challenging, and I think having
vulnerable.
that support, yes, way very vulnerable. So, like, and I think you have sometimes expectations kind of in the back of your mind, you maybe don't even know that you have them. Like, maybe so for example, you have a close friend maybe who doesn't respond in the way that you think. You're like, I did this huge thing, and they like don't acknowledge it. And
True
you're like,
story for
well,
me.
I know, me too. I
That did
know. And you're like,
happen.
but then you get feedback in unexpected places and you get some really positive, I'll like get an email or something like, oh, that really resonated with me. And wow, it kind of really just stops you and makes you think. But I think that thinking about it from your own perspective, just shutting out all that, like shutting out all that noise. I'm proud of myself to have put this podcast out. I am proud of you to have launched that product. And I hope you're proud of you too to have launched that product. I hope that it does something for you that isn't just like, I put a PDF out there, like I hope it's more than that,
It's
for
definitely
you.
100%. 100%. I am so proud of myself. Like, that was a huge whether or not anybody I mean, now some people will know, but
Mhm,
whether or not anybody realizes, and maybe someday I'll write about it on my blog, but, it was a huge thing for me to do.
mhm.
It was a huge risk and for multiple layers and, yeah, I'm really proud of myself, and have I don't have any regret about doing it, and yeah, I'm yeah, it was good. It was good, and it really was empowering.
And I think that's the
That's
way
how I
we
felt.
want to live all the life, right? Like all the times, all
Yeah.
the days, every day, every year, every week, every month. Like I think that's the way. And it's hard. I think it's hard to do. I think it's very challenging, to wake up and show up. You're like, okay, I have a thing to say. I have a thing to share with the world. This is something I believe in. I'm gonna do it. And then, sometimes it's like, I did it. When
Yeah.
people ask like, what are your favorite emojis? Mine's like the monkey. That has it's like smiling but has his eyes covered, like, "I'm so embarrassed," kinda thing, so that one and the laughing
Yeah.
face, but, I think it's important look here, I'm getting teary. I don't think you're supposed to cry on
Oh,
podcasts, but see here,
I think
crying
it's
on
totally
podcasts.
allowed. It's totally allowed. I think everybody should cry, like, whenever they want.
Yes, yes, but sometimes,
Because
things just really hit you, and I think
yeah, you feel that.
that's yeah, right.
Yeah. You feel that, and when you feel that, you like, that's, like, what we're here for. The one thing that I just wanna go back to for a
Yeah,
second is, like, I had a good friend of mine, reach out to me about what I was doing, and I was like, "What? You don't think I'm brilliant? You don't think I'm, like, the most awesome? Like, you've been here beside me during this whole, like, you know, life of what's been going on for me for the last 10 years, and,
mhm,
like, you've been right there, like, front and center, and you're not, like" it wasn't that she wasn't supportive.
mhm.
It was just that I just wanted her to be like, "That's so awesome. She
Yes,
did a great
yeah,
job,"
yes,
you know?
mhm,
And she didn't, and I was just like, after a few prompts of, like, encouraging her that I wasn't like, I needed that, and then she
mhm.
was like, "Oh, but it's really good," And I'm like, "Yeah, but now I just don't believe you, so that's okay too."
Yes, right.
But,
Say that up front.
yeah, but it made me take a look at myself and be it made me ask myself, like, "What am I doing this for?"
Yes.
What am
Yes.
I doing this for? What is and, not to discount, the marketing and the audience and, all those things because, like, I feel like for me, I can't get myself in that mindset of that because it deters me from, I'm so easily swayed into, oh, my whole, career is built around being a supportive artist to the the person in charge of me.
Mhm.
That's my career. Like, my own career is, me being an artist, an independent artist, right? Where I'm just doing my own thing, which is great. But then over here in this world, I'm the main support for the visual execution. So, I'm geared to respond when somebody is coming at me with information
Mhm.
about what I'm creating. And so it's a really delicate balance of if I think too much about the audience and what they need and what they want, then where does Jolene go?
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that's a very good point. Of
So
you
I have to
Yeah.
pull focus differently each arena and,
Mhm.
so and I'm
Well,
also not that good at it.
no, I
So
don't. I think it takes practice, but I think that really, like in those roles, as the person who supports, like it's your name's on it, but your name's not at the top. But in this, your name's at the top, and there's no other names below. So I think that
yeah,
do have to be, you have to be happy with the product, and I think that you do want to create something that people find valuable. I think that is the point because if the product
right.
doesn't sell, like, I do think there is something there. But yes, if you're not happy with it, if it doesn't really come from a place that, is you, I don't think that it's I don't think it's gonna make you happy in that same way. So I don't
Right.
know.
Right. I mean, I think at that point, I had to ask myself during this, and I did, and I've asked myself this a couple times, since I've launched my website with you. I think we did it at the worst possible time. It was
I was gonna say,
right
was
at
it
the throes
2020?
of
Because
COVID.
that was
Yeah, it was right at the
terrible.
throes of COVID, but I
Yeah.
actually did really good. So I feel like I've asked myself, and I asked myself with this too. If you're not willing to look at it's like, Jolene, if you're not willing to look at who the audience might be and what they want and creating a valuable product, then you don't have a product. You have a
It's not a
hobby.
product, it's just
It's a hobby.
a
Uh,
thing you've created, right, yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah, which is fine. I can have if I want to
Mhm,
go in that direction and just do hobbies,
mhm,
but I actually want it as a viable, so I need to get better at
mhm.
some things. I need to pay more attention to things and, just that self, like keeping it again, pulling focus and saying, "I'm the one in charge of this, and this is my name
Yes,
going out there, and the
yes.
audience is important," because I can tell you all those movies I work on, they don't sit there and go, "Well, we don't really care who the audience is."
I think as a creator, I don't wanna put something out into the world that I don't like, but is something that maybe the audience would like. Like, I want it both
Right,
ways. I want it both. I
right.
want it to be something that I like and I'm happy about creating and feel pride in, and I want the audience to like it and buy it. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, can we have
Yeah.
both?
Yeah, I know. What's going on in this world? Why can't we have
Yeah.
both? I feel like launching this product, I was true to myself.
Mhm.
I had your support. I felt in total control of it. You were a very good guide. You were a very
Thank
good
you.
support
Thank you.
in me executing the vision that I had for this product. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to making more.
Yeah, yeah, I learned a lot too. And I welcome those questions because those are all great opportunities for me to understand like what people have questions about. Some of the questions I knew the answers to, so I could say like, X or Y or Z, but some of them I didn't. So I had to go learn that, which is great for me because then next time I can show up for the next person with answers to those questions. And not that I think that that will ever stop. Like, I just don't think that'll ever stop. I think that people always have questions, but it goes to show, like, what people's concerns are. Like, I was working with another woman and her concern was having, a technology solution that she paid for monthly so that when her sales, exceeded a certain amount, she wouldn't have to pay more. Some of these platforms you have to pay per sale, a percentage per sale. And that's interesting to me, like really digging into the technology part, like here's how to segment your emails so that you can send to people who didn't buy, and here's how to send emails to people who did
That's why
buy.
we need people like you.
I love that part. That's my favorite. Sometimes that can get in the way of creating the product because you know your audience, you know what you want to put out there, but then to also have to worry about the technology and to have to worry about the I
Oh,
need a timeline, I need help, kind of framing this because it could just be open-ended. Like there was nobody really saying you had to do it by a certain time. That's the hard part with these things that we do for ourselves on our own. And all that imposter syndrome that gets in the way and all that we're in the weeds, like we just get
yeah,
in this place that we're like, "Oh my god, I just need help. I just need some support to guide me through this." And I've
yeah,
found my own support in different places in my life and, at different times and different kinds of support. And like it really just helps. Like you really just can't do it all on your own all the time. It's hard. It's because life is hard.
yeah. And it's really funny to me, like, because I think about this every day, literally every day, especially on my days off, where I like wake up and I'm like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And like, we're just making this up. Like, a bunch of people got together and we're like, work days, 8 to 4:30. That's what we do. It's like, oh, okay. And then it's like, but
And we all just buy
really?
into it. Yes.
I know. It's so
Hmm.
funny. So whenever I get too stressed out about something and I'm like, oh my God, this isn't gonna get done on time. I'm like, whose timeline?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
who's running this show? Like,
Right.
I
Right.
am.
Yes.
So, be honest, be clear with yourself. And, like I know that I have a hang up with I just want to I want to make the best thing. I want the best representation
Mhm.
of what I can create out there. And I also know full well, having been in this industry for over 20 years, that doesn't always happen. And
Mhm.
sometimes it is that saying, like, done is better than good, you
Right, right,
know?
because it could just be undone. So many people I talk with,
Yeah,
right, have like they have a product in their heart, they have it half done, they have it in 15 Google Docs and, on scraps of paper and whatever, but it's not out there. So while it's fantastic, like if it's not out there, what is it doing? Like it doesn't exist.
right,
It's not anything. It's taking up your mental space. So, I
right.
think like creating and getting it out there, I think it just feels it's like a relief too like launching this podcast, like, by the time this airs, it will have been out a while, but like, whew, like what a relief to just be like, here
Congratulations.
it is. Thanks. Here
Yeah.
it is, world. And setting those expectations aside for like number of listeners or downloads, or honestly, I don't even actually know how to find that information out yet. But like I did a thing and
Yeah.
now I can figure out like what's next. Like what is
Yeah.
next for me and what is next for, the things that I want to do and kind of get out there in the world. So,
One of the biggest things that this spawned for me is that since I decided that I did this, I'm now working on, and I know it's just been like a week, but it's happening. I've already made the phone calls. um, I linked up with a producer friend of mine, producer director, and I have asked him to help me create an experimental documentary
mm,
on the Globe Squatters. So, we're doing this fun little side project
that's
that
awesome.
is gonna be an even, like, bigger push of putting it out there, but it freed up space in my mind to be able to be
Mhm.
like, "Okay, what's next?"
It's that momentum too. You're like, well,
Yeah,
I did the thing. Like, I'm ready to do the next thing now." Like, I think it feels good. I think that we let things that aren't important get in the way and kind of cloud things. And then all the things that were really like, feel called to do and pushed to do, those kind of get pushed aside. And you just end up, I think, not feeling really like you're living, like
yeah,
as weird as that sounds, like launching a podcast, like I feel like I'm alive now. So, for other people, you know, and
yeah,
hopefully people, will find it useful and draw an orbit of people who want these things that I want and who resonate with the message that I'm putting out there.
yeah, absolutely, your tribe, and I think that, like, the thing that I feel about working with you is that like you're passionate about what you do. And so I feel like you will attract those passionate people to you about what they're doing. And
Mhm.
that is the momentum that we all need to be in to do this life, right? Because like if we're not
Yes.
living out these passions, regardless of what they are,
Mhm.
it could be raising an ant farm. Like it doesn't
Yes.
matter.
Mhm.
Whatever it is that like lights your soul up. Like
Mhm.
that's what we're here to do, you know?
Yeah.
So
To really
yeah.
make the
And there's
most of it, I think.
yeah, agreed. 100%.
So what 2 to 3 things do you recommend for people who have not done this yet? So whether it's do this or don't
Right.
do this or both, what do you think?
Okay. For one, and Renee is not paying me to say this, I would recommend you hire Renee.
I'm not paying Jolene at all anything. Although I did buy her
No.
product to test it out.
Yeah. That's true, you didn't. I appreciate that. You just know how to lead a person through the launching of their product, and I felt like the support and I feel like you have a good way of making a concept into a tangible form when at least when I didn't have like words for all the things, you helped me do that. And the other thing that I would recommend is not going back over it again and again and again. But I've already said enough about that's part of my personality type. So like do it, check the box, move on.
Mhm.
And so those are the two things that I would recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like sometimes like I just like if I'm writing something or whatever, I'm like I'm reading it over and over and over and I'm like, "Oh my God." Like at some point you're really just not even reading it because you've read it so many times that I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with it, but I'm not ready to hit publish or something. I'm like, "Okay, gotta move on." In that case, so I guess just as here's what I do. I have 1 or 2 people who will read it over. So my partner,
Mm,
I'll be
that's a
like,
good
"Can
idea.
you read this blog post? I'm tired of looking at it.
Mm,
I think it's okay, but can you let me know if something doesn't make sense?" Or sometimes he'll point out like grammatical errors or, things that I just kind of missed. So in a way that makes me feel better because I feel like somebody I know and trust and I know his like he's good with grammar and things like that. So I know that he's gonna go over
right.
it and I feel comfortable that like, I'm at a point where I'm ready to hit publish, and I have that kinda extra layer of somebody that I trust who is kinda putting their stamp of approval on it, so
Yeah.
that's what works for me, but yeah, sometimes you just have to hit publish, and I see a lot of things out there in the world that, have spelling errors and,
Yeah.
videos that aren't quite I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, I wouldn't do that," and people are putting it out there, and people are getting views,
Yeah.
so maybe it doesn't have to be as perfect as we think or, we would
Right.
prefer. I know it's hard, though, it's hard for a certain type
It
of person
is.
to,
Yeah.
like, but it's
Yeah.
not perfect, so, yeah. So whatever I guess,
Yeah.
however you can get to that comfort spot, I think is
Yeah.
to be able to kind of move on to the next thing, I think is a good place to find.
Yeah, and I think it's good to have a backing person who's like, especially if it can be your partner to like or somebody close to you that would be like that's kind of protective of you and
Yes,
like
yeah.
in a way when they're like they have your best interest at heart, I guess is what I want to say. So they'd police that. They police that
Yes.
shit and be like, hey, this is
Yes,
too
yeah,
far.
don't say that. Yes,
Are you
exactly. Yes, something
sure?
that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that extra
So
layer of like, okay, I can put it out, but you look at it first. I'm not gonna put it on social
yeah.
media until you read it over. So
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's great. Okay, so tell people where they can find you online.
And that's the question of my life. Where can you find
Where
me?
are you the most?
I think I frequent Instagram mostly.
Mhm.
So just Jolene Dames on Instagram. And then I piggyback with Facebook a lot. My handle is Jolene Dames Artist on there.
Okay.
So, and also my website,
Mhm.
jolenedames.com. Those are the three places that you could find me. But if you were
Perfect.
really, 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 really looking for me, you should go to my website first.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the show today. I was really excited to have you here, and I'm glad we got to chat about everything.
Thank you, Renee. I had a good time. Good luck with your podcast.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for listening. I'd love to continue the conversation in your inbox. Email subscribe to hey@yfdp.show or sign up in the show notes to get bi-monthly emails about how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. Can't wait to see you there.